Hi everyone, I'm Simon from Homesite, and today I'm going to be automating my garage door with a NodeMCU with Tasmota and a two-way relay board. Let's go! So a few years ago I fitted a roller garage door. Now it cost me about £1,000. I fitted it myself with a friend, it took us an afternoon. Now it comes with a radio frequency remote which has a rolling code of course, so rather than trying to hack into that and control it through an RF, I decided I'm going to utilise some of the contacts within the box itself. So that is one of the key dependencies on this, of course. If you're going to automate your garage door, A is that it's automatic already, and B that you have the contact. Now this relay board is going to give you a dry contact, a volt-free contact, which is exactly what my roller door needs. Now I could use something like a Shelly 2.5. Now this is one of my go-to products. I think they're absolutely brilliant, and it gives you two contacts in this tiny little box. You can control it natively using Home Assistant through MQTT. However, the contacts on this are not dry, they are not volt-free. They will put 230 volts onto the thing, whatever that is. So if that's a light bulb, that's obviously great. If it's a socket, it's great. However, my garage door needs volt-free contacts. It needs just a short between two pins, which means that I could use two Shelly 1s. Now this does give you a dry contact. This does give you volt-free contacts on the outputs of this device. However, it's massively overkill. I'd need two of these, one for up, one for down, and I could do it with a NodeMCU flashed with Tasmota and a relay board, and I can do that for about £10, which is about the price of a Shelly 1. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take this blank NodeMCU, flash it, put Tasmota onto it. I'm going to wire it up to my relay board. So I really hope you like this video. I hope you give it a like at the bottom. I hope you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any amazing more videos. Now let's get stuck in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our NodeMCU and we're going to flash it with Tasmota. So here's our NodeMCU. We can remove this bit of foam, although you can leave it on if you don't want to scratch your surface. Now you can see it's got a micro USB, so we're just going to plug that in to our micro USB cable in a moment. But first of all, we've got a little bit of work to do. We've got to download Tasmota first. So I'm going to leave this disconnected first of all, and I'm going to jump onto the Tasmota website and download the tasmota.bin file that we need. So you could do a search for it, or we can scroll down and find it. Now, if you're in the UK, don't be tempted to download this Tasmota UK bin, because that's a Ukrainian version, and you'll get it in, well, Russian or whatever they speak in the Ukraine. So we need to download this tasmota.bin file. So let's put it into my downloads, and I'm going to open my Pi flasher. Now, there's other ways of doing this as well. I'm doing this on a Mac, but this is very similar on a Windows machine, and I'll put links down to the files that you need down in the description below. So if you haven't used it before and you're not familiar, you might want to have a look in this list first before you connect your device up, and then you'll be able to spot the new device that's just appeared. So now that we've got that plugged in, if I refresh, we can see we've got USB serial, and I can browse to my firmware, tasmota.bin. We want to make sure that's on 115200 as the baud rate, dual output for the flash mode, and I'm going to wipe the data as well. So we'll flash that, and it should only take a couple of minutes. Great, so that's done. So now we can disconnect it and reconnect it, and we should be able to see a Wi-Fi connection for it. So let's give that a go. Now if we look in our Wi-Fi networks, we should see a new one called Tasmota something. If you see multiple, it probably means you've got multiple Tasmota devices, or you've got a neighbour with a very common interest. So we can see this one here. Now interestingly, this bit will be the last 4 digits of the MAC address, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. But if we connect to that, it should pop up with an interstitial page which allows us to connect the Tasmota device to your home network. So I'm going to put in HA network, and my password. You can add multiple SSIDs if you wish. I'm just going to stick with the first one, and I'm going to call this garage door. So I'm going to press save, and that's going to get rid of that window. Now it should close this window automatically, and it should automatically connect you back onto your wireless network, and instantly the Tasmota should connect to that wireless network as well. I'm going to go ahead and look in my router. Now all your router is likely to be different from this one, but I'm going to look in my DHCP table, and I'm going to look for something with 798, was it? Because we need to find that IP address and browse to it so that we can finish setting it up. Now if this is all going over your head, it'd be worth checking out my networking tutorial, where I'll give you a quick guide on routers and DHCP tables and how all that sort of thing works. So now that we've got this set up, we need to configure it. So if we go to configuration and configure module, it decides first of all it's a Sonoff basic, but that's not what it is. We're just going to go with generic. We're going to set our GPIO 1 to relay, and we're going to go for 1, and GPIO 2 for relay, and we're going to go change that to 2. Press save, and it will reboot. They come back very quick. So if we now go back into here, you should see that that's changed anyway, so there was no point in changing the settings in the first place, but here we go. We can now set our GPIO 5, because I'm going to use D1, pin D1, I'm going to use that for relay, and then 1, and D2, GPIO 4, I'm going to use for relay again, and I'm going to use for 2. Now obviously if you've got a 8-port relay board, you can change this up to you can assign all the way up to D8 for relay 8, but in my case, in this case, we've only got 2 relays, so we're just going to set the first 2. So save that. Again, it'll reboot, and we can toggle those on and off if we wish, but obviously they're not connected yet, so that's the next thing that we have to do. Now, in this next part, I'm going to get my soldering iron out. You don't necessarily have to. You could use jumper wires like this. However, I'm going to solder these on. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to solder it to the ground and the volt in. I'm going to solder those to a 5-volt power supply that I've got here. And I'm actually, for this purposes, I'm going for D1 and D2, which are going to be our outputs to our relay board. I'm going to use the jumper wires for that. So let's get our relay board. Now it's really important that you make sure you've got the right type. Now if you look at this here, we've got the 3FF version here, and that's important because this will run on 3 volt. For comparison, if you get one like this, which shows 12 volt DC in the part number, now that will only run on 12 volts, so that will not be run by your NodeMCU. So make sure you've got a 3 volt or a 5 volt version. I think the 5 volt generally supports down to 3 volts as well. So just looking at this board here, we have this jumper here. If you were to move it across to VCC to ground, it's a surefire way of letting the smoke out of your board. It will damage it by putting voltage onto the ground. And here you can see we've got the 4 pins. We've got ground, in 1, in 2, and VCC. So we're going to apply our 5 volt plus onto VCC, our negative onto the ground, and our in 1 and 2 we're going to connect to D1 and D2 of our NodeMCU board. So I've pre-prepared some wire here. Now I've used black wire with a white dot just because it's some spare wire that I had kicking around in my garage. So just an important note, I haven't connected the other ends yet. I'm not soldering whilst it's live, of course. So I am going to disconnect this from the USB, and then hopefully that's the last time we're going to need to connect it into the USB anyway. And first of all, I'm just going to tin the ends of these wires. I'm also going to apply a small bit of solder onto my ground and my voltage in pins on here. Okay, so I've got those tinned, so I'm now going to apply the wires to my NodeMCU and my relay board. Okay, so that's all connected. We can give that a wiggle, make sure that's good. And I'm going to connect the other end into a chalk block that I have here. So just making sure I've got it the right way around. The one with the tracer, the dots on it is the VCC or the 5 volt. And in theory we should have life. So we've got our Tasmota page up, we've got our NodeMCU and our relay board both powered. So the final thing to do is to take our jumper. Now I'm going to use the black and white on D1 and D2, black going to D1. So now we can toggle that on and off. Fantastic. In case you're not quite sure what the relay is doing in this instance, all it's doing is turning the switch on and off. Now you'll have a normally open and a normally closed connections on these relays. So what we're doing is we're applying a low amount of voltage on this side, which is in turn activating the relay and is able to cope with much higher currents. We wouldn't be able to run 230 volts through this NodeMCU board, but with the help of this relay board, we can run 230 volts at 10 amps. Obviously that's an incredible amount of power to run through this little relay, and certainly way too much for the NodeMCU board. Now if I were to get my multimeter now, when I trigger this, you would see a change state here and a change state here. And we get the handy lights to tell us as well. So that's our NodeMCU flashed with Tasmota and triggering the relay. So next, of course, we want to get this loaded into our Home Assistant and into our Node-RED for our automations. But I'm going to cover that in the next video, so make sure you watch out for that one. So that's it, we're all done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I always welcome comments, questions, anything like that. I'll always try to make sure I respond. So if you haven't done so already, please give this video a like, and that'll let YouTube's algorithm know that it's a really cool video. If you subscribe to my channel as well, you'll make sure you don't miss out on any future ones. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I've been Simon from HomeSite.